arch enemies. That's what I'm calling it, because they can't get a gate. Cardinals and the Astros in the midst of a hacking debacle. I guess I'll use the word debacle. So I'm going to take from the New York Times. The New York Times broke this article, specifically Michael Schmidt, about a few days ago, in which investigators have uncovered evidence that Cardinals employees broke into the network of the Astros that house special databases the team had built, law enforcement officials said. Internal discussions about trades, proprietary statistics, scouting reports were compromised, said the officials who were not authorized to discuss the continuing investigation. Later on, he goes to say law enforcement officials believe the hacking was executed by vengeful front office employees for the Cardinals, hoping to wreak havoc on the work of Jeff Luhnow, the Astros general manager, who had been successful in polarizing executive with the Cardinals until 2011. So the FBI is investigating this, and the first thing I need to point out is already media, sports talk radio, internet idiots everywhere. And remember, we already talked, the collective idiots, but maybe separately, well-informed, have already started referring to the Cardinals as, quote, the Patriots of Major League Baseball. That is just so low, in my opinion.
That's not fair to the Patriots. What the Cardinals did is worse.
Federal Bureau of Investigation is now doing a report on this, and they're looking into it. It is technically an act of, I guess, cyber terrorism, which I think sounds a lot worse.
Enough with the terrorism. Everything's terrorism. It's a crime. It's not terrorism.
I know if I was a pro player, I'd be afraid to play for the Astros.
The idea, though, and I think cyber terrorism is just a meaty, mean word, but we are coming off the idea of like the Sony hacks, which it's a scary thing. And I don't know,
We're going to find out who did those Sony hacks, and it's not going to be who we thought did those Sony hacks. But
you think it's going to be like a 12-year-old kid?
I don't think it's going to be North Korea.
Well, I don't think it's going to be But you know what North Korea might have done? They might be trying to get the Astros.
This is a serious crime. People go to jail. People go to prison. I mean,
there could be
corporate espionage. I would go with before cyber terrorism.
See, because that's such a fancy word.
But it literally,
I almost take it more seriously when you hear corporate espionage.
Yeah, cyber terrorism just sounds like John Ashcroft talking again.
I don't. That's over my head.
He was the Attorney General during the Bush administration, and he was always trying to scare us.
And he also, I think back when I lived in St. Louis, he was the Missouri governor. Yeah.
Anyway, this is a series. Jeff Luhnow, who's done a terrific job with the Astros, and the Astro ownership. Jim Crane owns the Astros now, and their patience, because clearly Luhnow came in and said, "I got a plan. I think this plan will work, but we are going to be horrible, and you need to let us be horrible, because there's no and it's true in baseball. Like if you're going to lose 85 games, you might as well lose 115 games.
Right.
Like it doesn't matter." And so he was saying, we're going to play these young guys, and some of these young guys we're going to bring up and play, and we're going to get rid of them because they're not going to be part of it when we're good. And now they're good, and they're good sooner, at least a year sooner than expected. And I think they'll certainly stick around the playoff picture all year. But Luhnow, they keep saying he was a divisive figure with the Cardinals. I don't know how. I don't know what it was. He was a great farm director. The Cardinals, who are known as the best organization in baseball.
They bring up talent.
And so many guys he drafted became integral parts of that team. I don't know what the divisive part was. I assume maybe he clashed because he is a Moneyball guy. I mean, of the era. The Cardinals had their own proprietary system for evaluating players. He then went to Houston, and they have their own proprietary system. The Cardinals think he might have stolen it. I'm sure he did. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Pretend you don't know things?
I don't
know.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I mean, they came up with their own, but I bet it's pretty similar,
Yeah, I mean, whenever a guy is, even if we're talking player to coach level, when a player or coach plays for a certain team for a certain amount of time, they know how the system goes. And that's why a lot of times don't trade a player within the division. You're like, well, he kind of knows us, so we don't want to see him that much.
Here's how the Cardinals could have done it. They could have made him GM and promoted John Mosliak, but their GM is good too. So they had a good system there, and this is what happens. You get rated, and they gave him a promotion, and they put him in charge. And so, but anyway, that's a different thing. Whether if he stole it or not, and I don't see how he did, you still can't. You can't break into his computer. You can't break into his computer. Yeah.
Law enforcement has stated that investigators believe that Cardinals personnel concerned that Mr. Luhnow had taken their idea and proprietary baseball information to the Astros, examined a master list of passwords used by Mr. Luhnow and the other officials when they worked with the Cardinals. The Cardinals employees are believed to have used those passwords to gain access to the Astros network.
So the issue is,
which, by the way, like you mentioned before, the Astros have a pretty good young talent. These George Springer-esque players. You go like, whoa.
Oh my God!
It's not a bad idea. Break into the Astros. I mean,
Yeah,
the
the Cardinals do. So it just seems petty. The Cardinals don't need. They don't need this information. They got it.
I mean, you know, well, to be fair to the Cardinals, they have the worst record in the league this season.
43-21. Yeah.
Here's the other thing. Since 2000, do you know how many NLCS appearances? Nine NLCS appearances.
In 15 years. It's unbelievable.
That's the best management in baseball, and I know a lot of their rotation is locked down. So it doesn't make sense to me why.
No, it does. I think they're right. They're vengeful and they're petty and they're pissed at him.
And this is the problem. When you have, I think, and this is where the comparisons came with the Patriots, because the Patriots have a track record. That's where it's unfair to, I think, to the Cardinals, because who knows. But the Patriots have a track record now, however much people want to believe it or not. But what happens now is, as you mentioned, the first thing you think about the Cardinals is, oh, they have a great system. They always bring people up. They do things the right way. No steroid allegations. All these things are happening.
Way.
And now, and by the way, just full disclosure, I can't stand the Cardinals. But these things are all true. But now when you do something like this, that's at this level, now the questions can start floating. Oh, so how have they had this much success? What have they not been caught for? And you can start asking these questions, and people are going to start listening to those. So
I guess
to let your ego get in the way of keeping this aura of angelic, tradition with the Cardinals, it's not worth it to go through this. Now you can wonder.
Yeah, I mean, if John Mozeliak, the GM, if he authorized this, well, first of all, again, you could be prison time involved.
Mm-hmm. Is that who would have to take the fall?
No, I don't know.
I shouldn't say fall. That's who would be behind bars.
He's the GM. No, I don't know. I mean, whoever orchestrated it is the most likely person to end up in significant trouble. And I don't know whether this is the kind of thing people go to jail for. I mean, it is stealing trade. I mean, you could talk just trade conversations of a baseball team. That probably shouldn't be in prison.
If you're the owner of the team, you might want
and
that.
you can probably still talk trades from prison.
But I mean, did the owner, Bill DeWitt, authorize it? I mean, those would be the interesting questions. Or were this, and then or was it more likely, what seems more likely, a bunch of guys, the analysts, the guys who'd worked for Lou now and were irritated or didn't go with him. Maybe it's guys who didn't go with him to Houston, he didn't take. And so they broke in. Maybe they just thought it was funny, right? And then it got leaked. But did they then take that information upstairs and talk about it? Because then you're obligated to let people know that this happened. It's obviously you can't steal from other people. It's stealing.
Right.
So what separates this scandal, or I should say corporate espionage, from things like Spygate?
I mean, well, very little, except this is more sophisticated. And Spygate, at least, there's something about old school creeping around. First of all, they didn't break a law in Spygate, right?
No federal law. It's just within the league.
It's just unethical, right? Spygate. But, is Spygate substantially different than stealing signs in a game? I think stealing signs in a game is fine. I mean, if you get caught, then you have to deal with getting caught and the other team throw at you, but then you get a guy on base. Baseball teams are so stupid.
But then, what level? What about pitchers cheating? And then, the corked bats that happen, and it's all these little things.
Look, everything is a matter of perspective. Pitchers scuffing the ball has been, first of all, pitchers are allowed to put some stuff on the ball. They're allowed to get a grip if it's cold or wet, right? So trying to get a little more, I don't care, man. I mean, I think if you get caught, you should get suspended. But I don't think that, I feel no degree of moral outrage to it. Corking a bat is worse. Corking a bat, because it's so secret. You're not even doing it in the open. You know.
At least to add the
like a pitcher is like
pitchers
like look, man, I got it. You catch me. Some batters want to have a clear rule to allow pitchers to get a better grip because when it's cold, batters want to know the ball's not going to fly out of their hand.
We have FIFA going on, which is, I mean, the biggest sports corruption scandal, one of the biggest corruption outside of sports.
FIFA's bigger than this.
Yeah. FIFA is bigger than this.
Yeah, FIFA beats this.
But amongst
humans dying.
Give me another one. I'll tell you we'll decide whether each one is bigger.
The only other corporate scandals I can really think of, and I don't consider the Tom Donahue point shaving scandal. I can never pronounce his name correctly. But Spygate.
Oh, Tim Donahue.
Tim Donahue. Why did I say Tom?
He joined. You see, he joined a white supremacist gang in prison.
Yes.
And he was. I can't believe I'm saying
survival.
He was fairly cool about it. He said, "Look, it was just for survival. When he first got there, he had a rough time, and he bonded with and these guys took him in. They wanted him to get a tattoo, and he was like, how about I just shave my head?"
He negotiated.
But he still talks to the leader. He's like, that guy totally helped me out and had my back. So.
Interesting. So Bountygate, Spygate. Those are the only corporate.
Tim Donaghy. That's how you say it.
Tim Donaghy. Thank you. Bountygate and Spygate.
Bountygate is bad because it, of course, risked injury.
Head injuries,
and I 100% believe that it happened. I don't know
whether
I don't know whether they exactly got the right players for it, but that was bad. And Spygate, Spygate is bad, and the Patriots should have been fine and lose a draft choice, and they did. But But I mean, you're trying to get a competitive advantage. Obviously, not all rule breaking is the same, and I would say breaking into other people's computer systems and stealing their information is a lot worse than putting a camera up.
But the reason it crosses the computers, in crossing the computers, it makes it worse. I mean, okay, so I think the Patriots actually their scandals arise above what the Saints did. I think what the Saints did happens without such structure in the NFL all the time. It's kind of the way of the game, which is the problem with a lot of the violence. You get a certain amount of tackles, you get a certain amount of hits for a season, you get a raise, you get a big contract. That's what football is. You hit someone, you hurt them, you get them off the field, you win games, you get a raise. Except this is done a lot more in a savage way, I guess, because they're like specifically target. When targeting happened, that was the bigger problem.
And those are rules. Those are within the rules that we've established. This is, I mean, the extra, you get $3,000, you knock a guy out of the game. That just, I don't know. That's an ugliness to that. But and Deflategate doesn't literally.
I left that off the list completely for a reason.
Doesn't even strike me as a scandal anymore.
It's not. It wasn't.
I would not suspend the guy for a game. I'd make them. Here's how I'd punish Tom Brady. Now I've just decided: the first 2 third down and longs of the season, you have to run.
But it's the thing. There's a reason. There's a reason for the regulations and specifications for these balls. So again, I don't think it's huge, but I think it's something. You got to do something because then again, and the fact that they have a track record. We talk about guys with track records all the time. Right. Rasheed Wallace got technical fouls as soon as he said "what" to the officials because he had a track record.
That's true. But he earned it.
And I believe they've earned it.
The Patriots have earned it too. Yeah, I agree.
Well, there you have it. They did capture a photo of the actual culprit who was hacking into the Astros network.
Oh, great. Let's see it.
All
right, there we go.
It was good.
Right.
There you have it. Where does this one rank?
I think Belichick is friends with La Russa.
Really?
I think so.
I didn't know Belichick had any friends.
No, I think they're sort of in some sort of mutual, we're geniuses club.
Oh. Best coaching minds on the planet.
Along with Mike Martz.
Maybe Steve Kerr will join them. Along with Mike Martz. I haven't heard that name in a while. There you have it. Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. Where do you think the Cardinals rank in terms of corporate scandals? Don't forget to subscribe. Ben, how much does it cost to subscribe to TYT Sports?
$5 a month, I think, right?
Yeah. It's free.
Oh.
You can send the $5 to me, though.
That's a joke.